Mr. Nelson Ine, Executive Director of GTI Asset Management, the strategic partner of Nigerian Professional Football League (NPFL), has been vocal about his vision for Nigerian football through GTI strategic collaboration with the NPFL and the Interim Management Committee (IMC). He aims to transform the league into a commercially viable, international respected football competition. He believes that the NPFL should be treated not just as sports competition, but as a business asset capable of generating revenue for players, clubs, and national stakeholders. Similar to major global league like the English Premier League, he states that the partnership is designed to develop football as a national asset that benefits all Nigerians. In this interview, Mr. Nelson Ine emphasizes that such changes are necessary to make the NPFL more attractive to investors, sponsors, and football fans, both locally and internationally. Let's take a listen.
Well, so far, I want to put it in context in terms of looking at the gradual improvement in the league. I always in cooperation with the NPFL board and also the Nigerian Football Federation board support to achieve whatever has been achieved so far. It's been quite challenging, extremely challenging, but then for us it's a mission that must be accomplished. And the state at which we started with the league and where it is today, we have made some progress, but I must confess that we still have a lot of grounds to cover to get to that level where Nigerians will be very comfortable with what the league is offering and every stakeholder is happy. But at least looking at the league today, we all agree that the calendar of the league has been properly aligned, which I think is major, because if you want to deal with stakeholders, they want some level of certainty in terms of your calendar, because your calendar will help every stakeholder with their planning. That has been achieved. Another thing again is for the league itself. The competitive balance of the league has significantly improved. You can see with teams today, the win-at-home syndrome, where people think when you play at home you must win. I mean, nobody is looking at that again. You play good football to win. You know, these are some of the impressions a lot of people have in the past. But that has changed completely. The officiating integrity of the referees has improved, which has created a very good level playing field for all teams to compete and compete fairly. And that has been good for the league. If you also recall, if you look at the league, it's a league that you cannot say one club dominates the league. Or the winning of the league is divided between 2 or 3 clubs. This league today, the title of the league is open until the last phase of the league, and even as the league progresses, you find that staying on top of the table has not been consistent with just one club. As of today, Rivers United is topping the league table, but then before the end of the season, anything can happen. But at the end, we always expect the better side to win the league, because it's also good for our representation at the CAF level. So officiating integrity has improved. I must give our referees a lot of kudos. Though they might not be perfect, because we must also make provision for the human error. But we believe that the officiating integrity of the league has improved. But again, we always still say everything is still work in progress. A lot of grounds we still need to cover to ensure that the system is working far better than what it is today. Again, the prize money of the league, which is, I think, has improved the competitiveness of the league. But in the area of the prize money, we are still looking at a situation where we can have another level of incentive to the clubs in terms of getting some incentive as per their placing on the table. So there's a start price for the winner, but there's also another incentive based on their position at the end of the season. They are placing on the table. We are also looking at that. There are a lot of things we are looking at to improve. So Then again, also there's orderliness in the league. Yes, there might be one or two instances. You see, one thing people must realize, you see, these one or two instances may likely occur sometimes. Because in a football match, there's so much emotion involved. If you say you have a 20,000 capacity stadium filled up, you are dealing with the emotions of 20,000 people at a go. You see, you can't control that. There's no way you can control every one of it. Sometimes things might get out of order, but the most important thing, when it gets out of order, what measures are in place to ensure that sanity is restored to the system? We saw what happened in the finals of the CAF. That is the biggest tournament in Africa. Like I said, it's emotion. People's emotions are involved, and sometimes these emotions can lead to very unpleasant circumstances. But then it has to be managed. And in that regard, I would say this league has been relatively stable. The league has been relatively stable in that regard, despite one or two instances. But again, you see, when those things occur, the NPFL board, the NFL, they always ensure that certain measures are taken to arrest such situations and also to forestall the occurrence of such things in the future. That also has been achieved. Then if you look at the broadcast, putting matches on television, you also recall that we have a streaming platform that have been streaming the Nigerian matches. But beyond that, we are also looking at having the television on the terrestrial, having it on various TV platforms beyond just streaming. So going forward, the contract we've signed with the broadcasters, that's the in-view technology that was signed with the league, their approach is free to air. And why is it free to air? It's to ensure that everyone, locally and internationally, have the access to watch the Nigerian Premier League on various platforms, either through the OTT platform, through the pay TV platform, whatever platform that. So that will also increase the level of viewership and other levels of engagement with the league. That is on ground. We used to have StarTimes pulled out, but we have a new partner today. And they started the test run. That was this weekend that just passed. There was a test run in Ibadan. But again, if you even still find out, the streaming platform still had all those live matches running. So, meaning that today the matches are on television, and we still expect to improve in the area of broadcast, media and publicity, and also other aspects of the league that we're also focusing on to ensure that we're able to grow the value of the league and make it very attractive to various partners to come on board.
Yeah, that's quite exhausting, and I must confess that it's not been easy managing football, local football, so to speak. Now, can you highlight some of the challenges and ways forward?
Okay, yes. Like I said in one of my interviews, the mindset needs to change. We must look at the NPFL as a sport asset, not just as a football event. That is how sports is being looked at today, especially at the elite level. At the elite level, sports tournaments like this, leagues, are seen as sports assets. Why? Because they have capacity to generate revenue, because it's a platform that attracts a lot of people, and when anything that attracts people is indirectly creating market, so we should look at the league as a sport asset, and looking at it as a sports asset, we should focus more on the business component of this league. Some of the fundamentals have been addressed. These fundamentals that have to do with the orderliness, the alignment of the calendar, putting a proper financial management structure in place that is transparent, accountable. We have all those in place now. Now it is to focus on what will drive the revenue of the league, drive business, what will attract all these brands. We'll be engaging with the brands, and we also need to understand their level of expectation. So what is going to drive them to come to the league, just like other leagues all over the world, you know? So we are focusing on those areas now, areas of traction to corporate partners to partner with the league, because the growing of the league is a collective thing. It's not an individual thing. One single entity, like I always mention, cannot grow a league. It's a collective effort. So we need the brands to come on board. But at the same time, we also will want to meet them at their level of expectation. So the kind of engagement we intend having with them is a value exchange engagement. Okay, they are coming to the league to offer value to the league in return for value. So that's the way, just like every other league, the way they run. So those are the areas we are focusing on. And it cuts across various stakeholders, and the responsibility is a shared responsibility across all stakeholders, meaning that the clubs have their role to play beyond just playing matches on the field. The board has some role to play, the strategic partners, the NFF, all of us, and even the corporate Nigeria, the various brands. We all have our collective roles to play in building this asset, and that is the focus going forward, that we believe that bring a lot of value to this asset. So we're going to be working with the board, the clubs, and looking at those areas that we really need to improve upon. Areas like having a proper, effective broadcast media solution, areas like having proper, effective data management and commercialization solution, areas of looking at also the clubs doing a lot on their own part, because at the end of the day, it is the collective contributions of everybody's effort that grows the asset. So we're looking at all these areas, improvement in areas, even in terms of technology, in terms of infrastructures that we still need to embark upon. So we're looking at all that. Then training is also very key. Like I talked about mindset, the only thing that can change mindset is continuous capacity building activities, training and retraining, seminars, engagements, lectures, to make us align our thoughts with modern trends in sports management. So, like I said, the organization is still a work in progress, and we keep doing what we're supposed to do.
Okay, from the sporting angle now, most countries, particularly in the West African sub-region, do have local players in the national team. And despite the fact that our league has improved in terms of the welfare, the organization, the management, and the harmonization of the calendar so far, your personal opinion, are you happy that none of our local players made it to the Super Eagles?
I'm not happy, but I'm not surprised at the same time.
And why?
Good. You see, talent in football, in sports generally, it's about incentive and reward. It is your reward system that retains talent in the league. And you see, talent always gravitates to where the reward system is higher. You know, the football ecosystem, you have the local and you have the global. And the good thing about football, players can easily migrate, move from one place to another seamlessly, because one, the rules are the same, the game is the same, the approach the same. It's easy for a player to leave the local league today, resume in another league tomorrow, and is playing. I always remember, this brings me to the experience with Kanu Nwankwo and Finidi George. They left the local league, moved to the club in Holland, Ajax. That same season, the following season, they won the Champions League. as at that time, the reward system locally was relatively okay. So many of the talents were retained back home. Many in the local league. And then if you even look at the national team then, the composition of the foreign base was not more than the local base in the league. Now, if you discover a talent in the local league today, let's say you discover a talent this season, the chance of keeping that talent the following season is very slim. Because, like I said, talent will always move to where the reward system is. That's the traction. So, now, since the reward system is not too encouraging, that is just the fact. The ability to retain talent in the local league is very low. And if that is the case, that means most of your talent are likely to come from outside. Now, if you look at even that team, not all those players we call foreign base were born outside Nigeria. Many of them were born in Nigeria, started their football career in Nigeria, maybe at academy level, and from there they were discovered, and because of the reward system, they were attracted outside. And moreover, we must realize something about sports. It has a very short career, and the risk factor is very, very high. In the course of playing, you will sustain injuries that will just end the football career. And under that circumstances, there's this need, there's this urge for players that are talented to quickly want to migrate to where their talent can be adequately rewarded because of this short span career we are talking about. So all this come into play, and these are also areas we are looking at to ensure that our league should improve, generate good revenue both at the league and the club level to a level where some of these talents can be retained back home. And if you look at this talent, do I call it brain drain or talent drain? It's not peculiar to only football. It's not peculiar to only football. A lot of our professions locally are having that kind of problem today. A lot. And if I want to look at the music industry, for example, you agree with me that many of the talents will be bulk of them only outside the country. Though some are still retained. So, given that scenario, the national team is a place for the best players, the best talent, irrespective of where they are. Every coach wants the best player to win the tournament. The country wants to put their best player forward. So it also shows that we still have a lot to do with the local league in terms of improving the standard of the league, revenue generation, to be able to retain some of this talent back home. And I believe, again, you see, sometimes when even players are retiring, most times they retire back home to come and finish their career. Again, the environment, the reward system must be attractive enough to keep them. So quite a lot of work to be done. I believe that with time, the trend will definitely change. Not that it will change completely, but with what we are working on, there's a second phase of this project we are working on. For us, we've only done with the first stage. There's the second stage we are looking, which is the advisory transformation stage, where we are now going to be looking at the clubs. Our clubs need to be restructured, because even what you have just mentioned is also affecting our performance at the continental level. When clubs go out to compete, it's unlike before. In those days, we have our clubs get to finals, win the CAF champions, win the CAF Cup, Even when they don't win, they get to quarter-finals, semi-finals. Even have situations where two Nigerian clubs will get up to semi-finals, Yes, so, and that era, we need to see how we develop our league, our football, to still go back to that era. Yes, not everybody will go out, but at least the local league should be able to retain some talents that should be good enough to play for the national team. You recall that in 2013, I think the bulk of those players were in the local team. The first 11. I hope I'm correct.
Yeah.
That was 2013. And coincidentally, the various times we won the Nations Cup, most of the players, I don't know, but as far back 2013 here, it was the same story, you know. So, and we still believe that yes, the foreign base are very good, but we still believe that when we take our league to a certain level, if you have 11 players on the field, but 3 or 4 of them can be from the local league.
GTI. How will you describe GTI's involvement in Nigerian football? It is unique, your partnership with the FPFL and the NFF, and we know the peculiar challenges in our own football ecosystem. GTI's involvement, how will you describe it? And how will you rate yourself on the scale of 100?
It's a GTI football involvement with Nigerian football. To many people, sometimes they wonder, and that's a question, that's a recurring question. GTI does not see like the strategic partnership with partner. GTI has an asset management company. For us, the league is an asset, it's a sports asset. Even our involvement with the NFL, we also see that as also a sport asset. So GTI is looking at the sports ecosystem as an ecosystem that the country needs to focus on. And GTI is taking the lead as an investment banking outfit to look at that same sector, because there's quite a lot that can be done in that sector. GTI, we believe that our involvement in that sector is to build the football economy, to transform that sector significantly. Why? Because the Nigerian ecosystem has all the elements to drive that sector. What are the elements? We have the youth population to drive that system. We have the talent to drive that system. We have the economics to drive that system. So we believe that with our involvement with that ecosystem, coming in as strategic partners, trying to work with various partners to transform that system, we believe just a matter of time, the real value of that system will evolve to the benefit of all stakeholders. And that is why we set up the Nigerian Football Fund, to get the involvement of all stakeholders, all Nigerians, all investors, because whether you like it or not, the sport asset grows, and it grows and generates revenue. Unlike in other clients where they don't have the kind of investment vehicle we have created with TNFF. The whole idea of TNFF is, okay, Nigerians, this is our sports sector. We're all passionate about this sports sector. We intend to grow it. Come and invest in the TNFF. You are investing to grow this sector, and once the sector begins to grow, your own investment begins to grow along with that sector. So your investment is tied to the growth of that sector. Because whether we like it or not, the sports sector is going to grow. With what we are doing now, just a matter of time. And so what we have done is come invest through the vehicle of the Nigerian Football Fund. This is open to everyone. Even as we are speaking now, Nigerians can go to the website tnff.gti.com.ng, click on that website, invest. You are investing in the growth of the Nigerian sports ecosystem, and as the ecosystem is growing, your investment is also growing. So that is the whole idea. For people, imagine if England had that kind of investment vehicle for the EPL and for other sports assets in England. Imagine people that invested in those assets 10-15 years ago. What do you think that level of investment would be today? So what GT has done, like for us, is about innovation and creativity. What we have done is to say, okay, fine, these are ecosystems that need some level of attention, some skill, some direction, and that is what GTI has done. To support that, we have also created an investment outlet through the Nigerian Football Fund where Nigerians that are passionate about sports, about football, can invest in the future growth of this sector. Like I said, we are very optimistic the sector is going to grow based on the elements I mentioned. The sector will experience what the music industry in Nigeria is experiencing. It's just a matter of time. The sector is going to experience what the movie industry is experiencing. They are all built on the same principles. And if you look at where even this industry strive in other countries, the sports sector is always bigger. It's all over. The sports sector is bigger. And in Nigeria, the sports sector is also going to be bigger. And we believe we started that work, and we are also gradually year in year out significant growth in that space.
Now I must ask you this: the National Sports Commission, led by Seun Dikko and Bukola Olapade, they have been at the aim of affairs of Nigerian sports for I think 2 years now, and the reviews have been positive. Now, in view of what GTI is doing to change narratives and revolutionize Nigerian football, what are the signs of cooperation between the NSC and GTI in terms of the financial aspects and the administrative aspect of taking Nigerian football forward?
Well, one thing I'll say is that, you see, whatever we've been able to achieve with the league today, or whatever improvement that has been with the support of the NPFL board, the NFF, and also the Sports Commission, because they regulate sports in the country, and they've offered their own level of cooperation in all these arrangements. But I would also tell there are also engagements which they are involving on how we can have some sustainable funding for some of these sports assets. It's a continuous engagement. As I'm speaking to you now, the engagement is on. And I can assure you that before the middle of this year, before the middle of this financial year, we are going to see some significant improvement in that space. But I'll tell you this, we've enjoyed the cooperation of all of them, and we all are working towards the same thing. We're all working towards the same thing. That is building the Nigerian sports ecosystem. And the good thing today, if you look at the leadership of the Sports Commission today, they are also looking at sport from the business angle. They believe in that principle. They understand it very well. And I think within the short time they have been there, it's not only about football. They are not concerned only about football. They are concerned about sports generally. Even we are looking at sports generally, but our own first entry point is football. Let's get, and let me also mention that the Nigerian Football Fund is not only about football, it's about the sports sector. For us, the entry point first is football, and from there we also move to other aspects of sports.
Now, lastly, one thing I'll say it's not easy because of our peculiar terrain and the civil apathy of the corporate towards supporting our sports, and that has to do with accountability and responsibility. In the next 5 years, where you will see Nigerian Football League under the strategic partnership of GTI?
In the next 5 years, what I would say is that the kind of result people are going to see is going to be very amazing. Because and I'll tell you this, if you also go and look at the involvement of a lot of sports assets, we have done our work in that space. Initially it's a gradual process, but it gets to a point the whole thing explodes. So because we are the confidence building stage now. The good thing today is that, if I'm using the NPFL as a good example, the good thing today is that there's proper system of financial management, transparency and accountability. There's a proper structure driving it. In fact, for us, we've even taken that level very high, because part of the custodian bank we use for them is regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So we've done it in such a way that the financial management has been brought to under some kind of financial discipline and regulation. And that is key. So for a lot of corporate brands that want to partner with this league, the assurance we are giving all of them today, there is proper financial management structure in place to run this league, similar and even better than what you have in many of these developments. Because what we are trying to do is to surpass whatever some of them have been able to achieve. And I know one thing for the Nigerian spirit, the moment we begin to drive all these things I've mentioned, I can tell you the result is going to be very, very significant. The transformation is going to be very, very fast, and the result is going to be very, very significant. And it's not too different from all the trend that we see with other sports, their involvement to where they are today. If you look at the EPL some 30 years ago, you look at even the NBA some 30 years ago, you look at some of these leagues some 20-30 years ago. If you even go and look at some of those matches of some of these leagues just 10 years back, you'll be wondering, did they actually play on this kind of facility some 10-15 years ago? You know, so it's a continuous level of improvement, and I'll tell you, finance plays a lot of role in all this improvement, and that is where the corporate Nigeria, corporate brands, we are supposed to come together and build together. So it's not a case of you bring your money to the league. Oh no. Now what we have is what we call responsible partnership arrangements, where we sit with the prospects, the partners, we agree on deliverables, we agree on KPIs, then we have a proper evaluation monitoring system of the partnership we have. So at the end of the day, everybody is getting value. For every one couple that is invested, there's proper returns on that investment, whether it's qualitative returns or quantitative returns, when there's proper returns on investment. And at the end of the day, all parties are happy with it because they are also involved in the whole system. So that's the kind of system and arrangement we have in place. So I'll be honest, we enjoy their cooperation, but I'll tell you this, the cooperation is there's still a lot of room for more of this kind of cooperation to enable us get to our desired destination and objectives.
I want to wish you all the best going forward for Nigerian football. Like I will tell you once again, it's not an easy task, but I know it's true. You can achieve it with lots of optimism and positive thinking.